Welcome back, OCS community, family, and all the beloved. So, we have an amazing show today. I mean, a ton of people. Nick said it earlier. You guys didn't hear it, Nick Hurdy. But it's like the Brady Bunch, and I'm super stoked. I love it. I can't wait to get this started. But first off, as always, right, for Onslaught community members, give us a big war cry. Huh! So, for those of you that don't know, huh, right, that comes from an old military phrase for specifically Army. Uh, and it just gets us motivated. It's a battle cry, right? Also, thank you to those of you who have subscribed. Those that have not, please make sure to subscribe, like, share with everyone, share with your grandmother, share with your cousin, share with everyone in the world. Make sure to follow the links in the beginning and below on YouTube and on Twitch as well. Special hug to our beautiful sponsor, Nick Pratt, a very special subscriber to the show, a gifter of great audio equipment as well. Thank you. And I thank him every single episode. Thank you to him. As I like to call him, he is Middle Spoon. I am Little Spoon. Also, my wonderful co-host here, Almost Functional, which is Matt, Tricky Nick, which is Nick Hurdy, and Todd the Tyrant. All right, Todd Morrison. Thank you very much to all three of them. Special thanks always to our sponsors from Art of War and Hobby Goblins. Make sure to check out Art of War on the links below. We have their YouTube links. As always, this is a family sponsor and is a very good friend of mine, I would like to say. And make sure to go check them out. And don't forget, OCS 8 coming up in a couple of weeks, 2 weeks to be precise, where we're going to talk about strategies for Space Wolves, Necrons, Thousand Suns, and and Orcs, of course, the new Orcs Codex, right? So that should be out around then. It's coming out this Saturday, so I'm excited about that. And thank you, special thank you to everyone in Onslaught community. So first of all, I want to start off introducing everyone. Thank you, everyone, for participating. I love it. Great to see Todd, Nick, Matt, Jarrett, my beloved girlfriend, Quinton, the most kindest, most amazing game player, one of the most amazing game players in the game. Richard Siegler as well, the machine, if I'm allowed to call him that, right? I've known him for many years. I remember getting stomped out with his towel back in the days. And the amazing Mike Muzzini. Did I miss anyone? If I did, I'm sorry, Matt. Did I miss you? I love you.
I don't think so.
All right. As always, before we get started, give me a little bit of time to pay the bills. Check this out. Now with a word from our sponsor, Baron of Dice. Baron of Dice is your one-stop shop for premium wargaming dice. Our dice are made with premium resin materials and colored dyes. Each die is hand-mixed to the desired result and then carefully swirled with 2, 3, or 4 colors in a silicone mold before being laser engraved with a wicked symbol and finished in a matte or gloss polish. There are no imperfections in our dice, no balancing issues, no micro bubbles or mold lines. This is the difference between. You can, quite literally, feel and hear a difference with our dice. Whatever game you play, whatever style your team or faction rocks, we're sure to have something to elevate your game. With over 500 styles and over 4,000 customer reviews, welcome to the best dice on the planet. Now back to our show. All right. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to share that with you all. So, we're going to talk about today, for those of you who are not aware, Art of War won the ATC in Florida. So it's the first ATC in Florida that's ever been done out here. That was head judged by JD from Away Games. Thank you to JD. Big hugs and kisses to that individual. We're going to make sure to do it again next year. I was also a judge with him. Someone's mic. Someone's driving cars, I think. I don't know. Is anyone in a convertible right now?
So
You don't think so? But big shout out to him and everything that he does for the community. Lots of love. And Art of War, I want to kind of start off with either Quinton or Richard, whoever wants to start off first. Tell us your experience on what happened, how you did so well. Just give us a little small synopsis. Um, and yeah, and thank you for joining the show.
You can go first, Q.
Cool. Yeah. So yeah, we won Florida ATC. I think we won one of the other ATCs previously.
Many.
Yeah. Art of War is no stranger to winning team events. I think that as a whole, our strength comes from the fact that we really know and trust each other as a team, and we're really close as friends. So when we have our pre-team huddle and Jack, points to the faction and is like, I can't play that, I'm going to do poorly, then we all just know that's what's going to happen. And if someone is like, if I'm like, I'm going to get a 10 in this matchup, then everyone's like, okay, Quinton's going to get a 10. And so there's a certain baseline of trust that we all have that we can really easily fall back on each other if something does go wrong, and we all have each other's backs. And I think that is the single biggest thing that makes us continuous winners in team events.
Except for Jack, it sounds like, right? I guess he's the loser of the bunch.
Jack never scored 3 points.
I'm kidding.
Like an epic failure. He dropped 4 points across the whole tournament. His scores were 20, 20, 20, 19, 18 or something crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, that's just who he is.
So whoever did your pairing did a good job. So Jack benefited.
Yes, Nick is an incredibly experienced pairing wizard. He has taken that across the seas to WTC, to many ATCs, to many team events. I think that's another skill of ours, is that we bring from having the opportunities to go to a lot of other team events. We have a lot of knowledge in how the pairing cycles work, and and we're all very familiar with how to build a matrix, and then what accurate scores are in different faction matchups. And then Nick really knows how to thread the needle and make sure that if someone has a really good matchup, they get that good matchup, and if someone has a really bad matchup, they avoid that matchup. And sometimes that doesn't mean everyone gets a perfect matchup. There, in a couple times, someone's like, "Hey, bud, you're gonna jump on the grenade and take a really bad matchup," and then the other 4 are gonna line up slam dunks.
Yep.
And I know Nick, who was doing our pairings, was definitely willing to go out of his way to make sure that he was the one who took the bad matchup if that was the best opportunity for the team.
Awesome. And Quinton, tell us a little bit about yourself. Just tell us exactly what you do and how you became who you are, the star that you are for Art of War.
Sure. So I am Quinton, also known as Rampage. I am a coach and content creator at artofwar40k.com. You can check us out in the warroom.bhx.tv. We have a 3-day free trial going on right now. A bunch of really cool stuff going on. I have known some of the Art of War guys for a while. And I was kind of coming up in the Florida tournament circuit. I thought I was doing really great, and I was kicking some butt at some local RTTs and GTs. And the Art of War guys really kindly gave me an opportunity to come up and practice with them before an LVO in, I think, 2021 or 2022. And I have never lost so bad so many times in my entire life. I went 0-15. But for some reason, they saw something in me, and they continued to invite me back. And after a while, that kind of they offered me a position on the team, and then eventually a coaching position when I graduated from college. So that's what I'm doing now. It's really fun and exciting times. I primarily do Eldar and Death Guard right now. And then if you've been watching any of our stuff and you've noticed any of the updated edited things that I am attempting to bash my face and learn, that's also what I'm handling behind the scenes.
Love it. Yeah, and you see the link below for Art of War, the War Room itself. Please make sure to subscribe, like, share, everything Art of War. And I saw you mentioned a couple armies. So what's your day one army, and how long have you been playing for 40K?
So day one army. So the faction I started with is Tau. There's probably 8,000 points up on those shelves over there. But I've kind of put them aside. The faction that I play the most, if everyone is what is your baby faction, is definitely elves of every possible variety. So Drakari, Eldari, Harlequins, I love them all. They're my babies. But recently, in the last couple months in this most recent balanced data slate, I've been playing a lot of Death Guard, and I've really enjoyed them.
Love it, love it. And also, any shout outs, anything that you kind of want to detail? I know you talked about Art of War, of course, but is there anyone maybe you want to just give a shout out to? Anything that makes you happy in life or someone?
I'm going to shout out my cat who got in here and knocked a bunch of stuff over. So I'm kind of mad at him, but he's awesome in general. We're going to say that.
Love it.
Yeah, and,
Love it.
How long you been playing, Quinton?
So that's a bit of a loaded question. It depends on your definition of the word playing. I have been aware of and rolled dice in Warhammer for probably about 15 years. My older cousins and my uncle used to play, and in my grandparents' house, they had like a room that was like sequestered in the corner that was the Warhammer room. And every now and then they would be generous enough to allow me to go inside and even once or twice play a game. But that was a whole lot of, my Space Marine is going to shoot at your Rhino. And some guys going to have to roll it out. And I thought I was the greatest tactician ever because for some reason my Rhinos always blew up their monoliths. Looking back, those are a little questionable, but at the time I thought it made perfect sense. And then probably 10 years ago, I got into playing the game myself. And then I took a hiatus to go to college, and I came back, I think 3 or 4 years ago, and I've been playing the game very competitively at my current level since then.
Yeah, because I remember when I first started running into you was over at Coliseum over in.
I was a wee baby. My parents had to drop me off because I could not drive yet. It was great.
Well, yeah,
you finally got your license? They let you?
Yeah, I was like 14.
You got your license? Aren't you like 16?
Something like that.
Yeah, no, you remind me a lot of, because I met Lennon, he was around that age. He used to come to Anthem games, and I had the same thing with both of you. First, like, all right, I'm going to beat this little kid, and then, all right, and then after a little while, all right, this is going to be a tough game, but I'm going to win it, and then like, all right, this is 50-50, and now, then it became shit. I got to play Quinton, shit, I got to play Lennon. Like, just to see you guys progress and learn, and like, you're not quite as cocky as Lennon, though.
I mean, it's hard.
I love John though. John.
Oh, he's my favorite people. Yeah. One thing
he maybe beat me a 40K, but he still can't get me a beer pong. You just remind him that anytime you see him.
One story I like to tell people a lot is that I lost my first 54 tournament games of Warhammer in a row. I went over a year of going to events and did not win a single game.
Wow.
Yeah.
The same army.
So yeah. Well, I was like 12 probably, so I had like 2,000 points of Tau that I like borrowed from my cousin, and that was like all I had. And it was terrible. I had like a bunch of Fire Warriors on foot, and this was at the peak of 7th edition. So I would walk up to the table. I was 12 years old. I was really excited, and I'd be like, this is my Fire Warriors and the one Riptide I got for Christmas. And my opponent would be like, this is my Electro-displacing Thunderbolt Star.
Yeah, my invisible re-rolling saves.
Yeah.
7th edition was crazy.
That was a dark time.
So I got like sandblasted off the table on repeat for a year and a half. It was great.
Oh my god, I can't imagine that, but I guess that's where people learn the best at, right? From all of the pain and losing and things like that, and you just become an amazing player. From all of that, or anything you do in life, right?
Have any of you seen the movie Ratatouille?
Yes.
Yeah.
When Hugo takes a bite of the ratatouille and he's like taken back to his mother's.
Yes.
So when I went to the Art of War house for the first time, after coming off this like mega win streak, I'd like won like a GT and like 5 RTTs back to back. I thought I was the coolest person ever. And then that was like 0-15, and I had to flashback to when I was 12, and I was like, oh, I see there is another mountain to climb.
Yes.
You're the small fish in the totem pole when you walk there. That's funny. Yep. Oh my gosh. All right. No, thank you for that. And just a little bit about your matchups at the ATC, right? And why you guys were successful. I know you gave us a little synopsis of how it went for the team. Tell us a little bit of maybe how it went for you, what you maybe learned. You know, this is an educational show as well. Or maybe something that you taught someone at the event so they can understand the game a little bit better, and how your matchups went.
Yeah, so also, Richard, if you want to jump in at any time, you're welcome to. I don't want to hog all of the Art of War glory here.
No, you're fine. We're gonna come to him right after this. Right
okay.
After this.
So this was it was a really big learning experience for me. I had not actually taken Death Guard to an event yet. I'd only played
Mechanized,
them,
right?
I didn't play Death Guard of any variety.
Wow.
Without not except for the few games I'd played on like our stream, which is a very different atmosphere than in a tournament because we're going towards a like learning and teaching experience, which means sometimes like if we'll do something then we'll realize, hey, maybe that wasn't the best decision. We might go back just to see if there's a little bit more if there's a better way we can teach our audience like what's happening. Yeah. So I kind of had like, it was jumping directly into the fire, so to speak. So I definitely learned a lot as to like how things go. As far as teaching people specific moments, I think there were a few times where after the game someone would ask me and I would go over just like a couple minor sequencing things. Just like, for example, I had an opponent who one of my big units has 6 flamers in it. They're all really good flamers. They all have AP. They all have anti-infantry. They're all like damage 2. And he had a unit in combat with that squad of flamers. And he chose to fall that unit back, and then after that, move another unit next to my flamer unit, which then let me overwatch and kill it. Wow. So after the game, we've talked about sequencing, how if you leave the unit in combat, correct, then I'm not eligible for Overwatch. When you move the unit forward, you can then fall back with impunity and be fine.
Okay, beautiful. No, thank you for all of that. Now, next to our next one is the next Art of War, Mr. Richard Siegler. Richard Siegler, thank you so much for participating today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here and excited to talk about Florida ATC because Florida has one of the strongest metas in the U.S. and frankly, I think it's the strongest. I think if there was state,
I was going to correct you and tell you we're the strongest.
I think if there were state championships, which would be a good thing to have in the future, I think Florida would win every single year. And I don't think that's just solely Art of War. I think there's a lot of really strong players in Florida, and the meta continues to get stronger. And it's really important for us to be out there and going to the events and being with our local community because, like you said, a lot of you we've kind of grown up with. We've developed our brand, but we started out as just a couple guys who enjoyed playing Warhammer, and we came from different areas of the country, and we started at different times. But this local meta means a lot to us.
Well, I thought there were no good players in Florida.
I mean, that's what people would say, and we've been proving them wrong for years.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And Richard Siegler, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us how long you've been playing the game, what's your day one, and how that's been for you since the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, I started playing Warhammer back in 3rd edition, very casually. I had the Metal Demon Hunters army with the Grey Knights, and I had Blood Angels, and my brother played Tau. And then in 8th edition, the second year of 8th edition is when I started picking the game back up again. And I started with Tau and just played them for, a couple of years. I mean, basically, I played them for like 9 months, really, going to tournaments, going to local Florida events. That's where I met Matt. That's where I met you. So I started meeting all the people. I played against John. I played against Quinton. And eventually, within a couple months, I kept getting better. And then finally, when I went to my first big tournament, Nova, I won that. And then I was just like, why don't I just win all the majors and win the ITC?
You did. Didn't you go on a rampage? I'm sorry to say Quinton's name, right? But didn't you go on a rampage for like a whole year where you won like 3 to 5?
It was half a year.
He played like,
oh my gosh.
I think he only played like 6 events, won all of them.
No, that was a different year. That was a different year. I had to top myself, so I won.
Let's not get them confused.
I can't keep track,
guys. Yeah, but like the first year, I truly played competitively. First couple months, I played local RTTs and a couple GTs, and didn't win any of those, but played well. And then kept getting better. And then I went to my first major, which was the Nova Super Major, won that, and then won like Warzone Atlanta, Pro Tabletop, LVO, and the ITC. Took it away from Jim Vessel.
Nice.
So that was that. Then not the following year, but the year after that, I was able to win the ITC again. But that was the one I did in exactly 6 events. And with LVO as the second time winning LVO to crown me. So
to be honest, I know what you're doing here. You're trying to give everyone else in Art of War the opportunity to win too, right? That's why you've kind of fallen back a little.
The thing is, like, how many times do you really need to win it? The prize support has gotten worse. Like the first time I won it, there was a cash prize related to it, so it kind of made up for all the expenses of traveling. Then there was no cash prize, but the cruise was kind of cool. But I was at WTC, so I couldn't use it. But luckily, the cruise people are really awesome and let me move it a year. And then it was a Games Workshop Army, which I picked the Manta because I'm a memer. And then now I don't even know if it exists. I think Jack got like a firm handshake for it. So I think I frankly think like the quality of prize support in the bigger events is quite poor. Right. Whereas local events, you're one of the good examples. Is those local events do really well with the prize support and make it worth like really trying.
It is. And Crucible tries to give out as much as they can, right? We try to do for the community. We try to give everyone else swag, make sure that everyone is feeling wanted and is having a good time, right? So I'll keep that in mind for Crucible this year. Hopefully I get to see you and the rest of the team, right? And maybe we'll bump up the podium, right? But you got to make it, right? We're not going to assume that you're going to make it, but you got to make it.
Definitely many of us will be at Crucible. I mean, we're right here in Orlando. It's close.
Yes. Would love to see you. And
that's my journey as a player.
Got it. And at ATC, so you played AdMech, Skitarii Hunter cohort.
Pure AdMech, no allies, because Mr. Brian Jones was playing Imperial Knights, and they are one faction in Imperium that needs allies more than AdMech. So he got the allies, so all my damage was gone. AdMech doesn't do damage. So I was all mission play, I was all nonsense. I just flooded the board with stuff. And people were joking they'd come around to my table, 2 hours into the round and be like, still looks like you have a 2,000 point army on the table, just based on models. So I love AdMech, love the faction. It's been done dirty by Games Workshop for like 3 years now. I want to represent the community because it's a faction that I love, and it's also an underrepresented army. It's very expensive to collect. It's annoying to paint and build. So I feel a close connection with the overall AdMech community, and I just love playing it. So I was like, all right, I played it at a random RTT at Warfire, and then for this event, we kind of wanted to, there's a big thing out there is like, how much does list building matter versus player skill? And frankly, most of us lean heavier on player skill mattering a lot more than the list, especially when the edition is more balanced. The beginning of the edition, if you ran Eldar against anybody and you were better than them, it's just you win. The army was broken. It was ridiculous. And that was true for a lot of armies. But successive balance updates, the game's in a much better place. The game's very close, even though some armies are better than others. You can still win with the worst armies if you outplay people. And so we tried to take what we thought were the armies that we love, which are underrepresented, and show off how well you can perform with them if you're, a good general of that faction. So took the AdMech. I had a lot of fun. I put Gaz in jail 3 turns in a row, and he never get out. But I just had a lot of fun because the army is all full of tricks. It's full of player skill. Doesn't do damage, but it's full of player skill and movement. And that's really what 40K at a high level is about, movement.
It is. And that's a great point that you bring up as well, because I remember, a year or two ago, you can correct me, but at LVO, you won with AdMech when Custodes was at their peak.
It was just after the new the 9th edition Custodes Codex was released. It was beyond broken, even though some content creators thought it was not a good codex. Obviously, that was ridiculous. We were like, it's broken immediately. Everybody who's had a name wanted to take them, and the top 8 was filled with them. I, on the other hand, I did switch for the first LVO. I played the Breviathan Iron Hands broken list, but it was hard to play anything else if you wanted to really win. So this time around, I was like, all right, well, my goal isn't really to win. It'd be awesome if I do, but I want to play something that I really enjoy and I think is off meta. And I love the AdMech rules in 9th edition. It was a very hard rule set to play for most people, but it was one that was really rewarding. So I just continued. It got nerfed multiple times. I kept playing it. And I came up with a list that I thought could give me chances. And I played some really tight games against Custodes in the semifinals and finals, made a couple better decisions. My opponents weren't really familiar or really respected AdMech as much as they would have if they had any reps into the army. So I was able to very narrowly squeak a win there. But yeah, I've been playing AdMech for a long time.
So Admech is like your side chick in comparison to Tau. Is that how it works for you?
Admech I like as an army more than Tau. Like the lore of Admech, the aesthetic of Admech. Yeah, Admech is, I think, my favorite faction personally. But Tau, I think, fits better with my playstyle from edition to edition because Admech swings wildly between good and horrible. Whereas Tau is usually consistently just a good faction. Even when it's underpowered, you can still pull off stuff. Like when Drukhari was broken, I took Tau to ACO and was like, okay, you're used to winning with your stupid Drukhari? Wrecked. 8th edition Tau, bro. So that is... Tau is always an army where you can just put player skill to good effect. Admech is up to the hands of people who are writing the rules. I think they get less love usually than Tau.
Yeah,
they do.
I don't see how anyone can sit down across from you and not respect whatever you brought.
It happens.
I see you. I know there's something good in there. Like it's not complete trash.
If you literally just read, the common content creators, or you have the general sense of the Reddit community in your brain, you'll be like, Admech is trash. Yes, he's a good player, but he's not that good. And he's not going to be able to pull magic with this army.
So, Richard, what was your favorite Admech moment that happened at the Florida ATC?
There was a couple. One of the best ones was, like I said, I put Gaz in Skystalker jail for 3 turns in a row. Admech can't kill. Gaz and his unit of Meganovs, like 2-up saves. The army is horrible AP. It's low strength. How the heck am I going to kill this? -1 to wound on top of that. I'm just not killing that. So instead of making that my game plan, which would have been a complete mistake and I definitely would have lost, is I just focused on dealing with everything else. And instead I threw a grenade at him, put some random guns that couldn't go elsewhere into his unit, and then I literally surrounded him 1.1 away with my 5 Skystalkers and trapped him there. And then I did it again and again. And the funny thing is each time Gaz killed exactly 3 Skystalkers, and I just fell back the 2 other ones. And then the third turn I put the two-man units next surrounding him, and finally killed him at the end of the game to get assassinated. It was fun. So that was my favorite moment. That was on stream round 4. But there were a lot of really good moments. Dragoons are just amazing, not in terms of damage, but in terms of their durability and ability to tie up enemy units. The thing is, 9 Dragoons is so expensive for the average player. Like, who really has 9 Dragoons? I didn't even have 9 Dragoons at the beginning of this edition. So it is the key to doing well with Admech, in my opinion. You have to put a lot of pressure on the opponent, and you have to make the game happen on their half of the board. If the game is happening on your half of the board, you're done. If the game's happening on their half, you have play.
Yeah,
love it. Yeah,
thank you.
Go ahead, Matt.
No, so that's probably something a lot of newer mid-level players don't appreciate, is how important move blocking and stuff like that is. I think that's something you guys really teach well on the Art of War.
Yeah, movement is the number one thing. That's why slower armies are usually a lot harder to play. Death Guard has gotten a variety of buffs, but man, if you remember the index, slow army doesn't really shoot that hard. Just completely mediocre rules for the most part. But then they put a really powerful army roll addition on them that helped. But speed gives you access to doing a lot more things than you otherwise would have. And if you don't have speed, you need infiltrate, scout moves, all that stuff to just force the action onto your opponent, force them to make the harder decisions turn after turn after turn.
I love it. And congratulations to Art of War for winning first place. A big round of applause for you guys, the entire team, right?
Yeah, thanks so much. We love the event, and we'll definitely be back next year.
Love what you guys do. It's gonna be slightly closer to the beach, which probably shouldn't be a bad thing for most people. I'm hoping this year people can actually participate at the beach, right? And enjoy themselves a little bit. So hopefully maybe people come out a little bit earlier. We try to do like a little beach bash, a little personal thing before everything starts out. Because I know I brought my family there and I was working, judging the entire weekend, and I had no free time. So I couldn't do anything. So I could only imagine what you all went through. You probably had no free time as well. I don't know. You're a lot younger than me, so you're probably party animals and just went out and did whatever you wanted anyways.
No, nobody's a party animal. Everybody's old now.
I don't know. Quinton looks like he likes to tan.
Under fluorescent lights, maybe.
speaking of party animals, right? So we have second place winners, Team Degen with Jarrett and Mike Muzzeni, right? These two right here. I love their characters. Wonderful individuals, a part of the community. They are in Altamonte, right?
Yeah.
Altamonte?
Yeah. Orlando Altamont.
Orlando, yeah.
Altamont. There we go. They have a beautiful team over there. Wonderful, wonderful. And I mean, some of the best personalities when it comes to playing 40K. Wonderful people like Eric Andrews, the Viking. I mean, these people are just like the friendliest, most huggable, lovable individuals in the community. And as everyone knows, I'm a big proponent to all of that, right? I like to have people who are just amazing, right? And reflect the better part of the community. And these two gentlemen, I would love to say that they do that as well, including everyone else on this show, except for Matt and Nick, maybe. But let me go ahead with Jarrett first, if you don't mind. Thank you once again for participating on the show, OCS. If you don't mind, please tell everyone a little bit about yourself, how long you've been playing Warhammer 40K, and what is your day one army?
My name's Jarrett. I'm captain of the Layton Gaming Club that's located in Orlando, Florida. My day one was Dark Angels at the beginning of 9th edition. So I actually started right around the time Q started to go in to hang out with some Art of War people. And I remember one of the first times that I was at one of our local game stores and I was watching Q play someone else. And I was actually scared to talk to Q because I knew how good he was before he was on Art of War. So I awkwardly stared at his game trying to learn how to play the game because I maybe played like 3 or 4 games up until this point. I never played an RTT before. I just became a part of the community. And like, I don't know, I guess I saw Q be really good and I decided that I wanted to be decently solid. And a lot of that is in fact of the Art of War War Room, which is an amazing resource for all of us, and to be recognized alongside these Florida teams, especially when we ran the Florida Gauntlet at ATC, it's amazing to be here. And thank you so much for having us on.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, unless I was just sleeping, you didn't tell me your day one army. What is your day one? What is your favorite, or what is your baby army? What is your favorite? Like, what do you love most of all time from your factions?
I'm at a loss with my day one army right now. I'm a Dark Angels player. You guys have seen me put 45 Dark Angels Terminators on the board many times.
So that's your day one. That's your love, but you're just
day one is Dark Angels.
Got it. They're just in a bad place right now. I get it.
Yeah, I had to teach his Terminators about the Space Wolves one time at my house.
I did. I never played Space Wolves before. The first time I ever played was at Matt's house playing Space Wolves, and I did not have any clue what was going on.
No, he walked him into the middle of the table. I walked up with my army. I was like, I'm going to kill him. He's like, no, you're not. And he was like, no one's ever done that. I was like,
you only wound me on force. And then I did, in fact, lose that game really bad.
Was that 8th edition? What edition was that?
That's when we were practicing for ATC that year.
Okay.
You, me, Nick, Jarrett, and Chris Anderson, 2-3 years ago.
The ATC, you threw yourself on a grenade and everyone else on the team to allow me to win the entire thing. Yeah, thank you.
When you went 6-0.
Our ATC team.
For singles, for the record, everyone, because I believe Art of War won the entire thing.
Oh, yeah.
But for singles, I ended up getting best in faction, orcs, and best general, which was pretty awesome.
But to be fair, that's when Jarrett was still learning. It was like, I believe, your first ATC. Steve was
that was my first ATC.
I doubt that would happen like that now.
Yeah. Oh, way different. I saw what he was doing at ATC Florida with his Votan. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he's come a long way.
It was amazing. And and to say from where I've seen him before and to see him now, how amazing he's doing, like big kudos to you, Jarrett. Amazing work, man. Keep on doing it. Your paint work is looking great, man. Keep on doing it, right? Keep on being influential for the community, man. We love you so much. Now, with that being said, how was your experience at the ATC Florida? And give us a little bit about your matchups, and just like Richard and Quinton kind of did as well, right? Maybe something that you learned or you taught somebody while you were there.
So we were also in a really good spot with like we'll just touch on pairings first of like having a great captain. Cam Calabro was our pairing captain, our team captain. He's kind of the glue that holds all of us Degens together, which we can touch on who Degen is later. Eventually, maybe one day. We just made sure that we had 4 people that had good matchups, and the one person who was the grenade who has to take the tough matchup was going to be me. I brought Votan. There was 3 or 4 Votan players throughout the teams. No one else placed very high playing Votan. I mean, they're a solid army, but they're not an overwhelmingly good army, and they're a very high skill cap army, I would say. I mean, Siegler, the resident Votan, coach, so he could attest to that. And like we did really good on pairings, and I feel like we won 4 rounds on pairings, and we lost 1 round on pairings, and that round we lost on pairings is to probably Art of War.
That guy.
Where we just went, let's just go. Like, whoever I play. Like, I really wanted to play Siegler. I really did. I wanted to play as Admech with my Votan just to get, like, that extra step of, like, just him seeing how I play and him maybe being like, oh, you probably should have did this, right? But, I ended up playing Nanavati, and I went aggressive into his demons, and that list is deceptively tanky and deceptively board control-y, and I just went into a brick wall, and I couldn't crack it. And we lost that round, but we played the rest of it with we played DDR, we played Cigar City, we played the Florida gauntlet of teams to play in Florida, right?
The mobster lobsters, bro.
We did do lobsters. We won the last round by 1 point.
That was a close round.
Lobsters was amazing to play against. Those guys, Bobby Soto's on that team. Like, so you have these guys who were amazing on that team, who are like in these costumes, and you kind of like take them a little bit. You're like, oh, they're just here having fun, and you realize that they have a bunch of killers on their team, and that was our hardest fought round before. I mean, we won round 5 by 1 point.
Wow.
The lob mob.
Yep.
The lob mob.
We got 1 point on the Lobsters to secure 2nd place. So, it was a tough time in the last couple of rounds, but I think we did really well. Our captain Cameron, he was phenomenal in pairings, and it's always fun to play Florida events, especially events ran by very good friends, and not only are they Florida events ran by great friends, they're just greatly ran events, period. All of your events are always go off without a hitch. The best sportsmanship, the best prize support, everything you guys do for the community is so. I mean, it's the golden standard. I'm just going to be honest. It's the golden standard for local communities. They should be looking at Onslaught Gaming and being like, we want to be Onslaught Gaming for our community because you guys do so much for us.
I love you guys too, but it's not because of me. My passion trickles off of all of you, right? Like I tell you guys all the time, right? You come to my events, whether it be Kissimmee or Tampa, wherever it might be, right? It is so freaking hard picking best sport, right? Because there's so many amazing people. Rarely do people act out, right? And it's so hard just to pick who's best in sport. And then I have to just bump up the prizes by doing like best in sport out of 5 people. And then sometimes I just feel like I'm missing out on 15 other people, right? So it's because of all of you, and I appreciate that very much. It's a wonderful compliment. But to stay humble, and I am humble, it's really because of you all, right? You guys make it very easy for me and everyone else in the community to be amazing. One of the biggest things, just to kind of sidetrack here a little bit, right? One of the biggest things that I heard the other day was people come out to these events in Florida specifically, to all of them, right? But also to Onslaught as well. But people teach you how to play the game, and they sit down and basically allow you to see everything that they have, fold all their cards, let you see all their cards, right? And that's just wonderful to hear that about the community, right? How people just work with each other. They understand. And I know I learned this from Art of War many years ago, but there's no reason to have gotcha moments, right? Or put people in a predicament where they just get feel bads, right? John Lennon, and I talk about John Lennon all the time. And very soon, hopefully I'll have him on the show because I want to talk to him. I love John Lennon so much, but he's always been the gold standard for me and everything in the community. I've watched him since he was very, very young, a young tyke, right? And being at Crucible, coming to Kissimmee, the way his game etiquette is, right? Just his game etiquette, how he explains to people what he's doing, how polite he is about it. And then he still continues to demolish people after all of that. It just makes you feel like, puts you in a weird predicament like, wow, this guy's amazing, but he just stomped me and dunked all over me. But thank you. Sorry to go on a soliloquy there. Anything? Go ahead, brother.
That's, I think, one of the reasons why the Florida meta is so good is because the top players aren't standoffish and they will help other players. Like if you played Lennon or Siegler or somebody at a tournament and you didn't know who they were, you wouldn't realize the time they'll spend with you and help you, that they are who they are in like nationally, who people think of them. Like you just think they were just some really good local guy.
True indeed. Yeah, we have, dude, hands down. Like Siegler said, we have the best community, the strongest community. If you're watching from somewhere else, we still love you, right? We're still the best.
Yeah, anyone who comes to a tournament now that hasn't played since like 5th or 6th edition would be shocked at the friendliness and openness.
Yeah.
Because 40K, the top players used to be so toxic. They were bullies. They basically pushed people around to their wins. Instead of now, they're the nicest guys in the world. They're just better than you.
Yeah. Which is, it's just funny, right? It's just like getting beat up by the nicest boxer in the world. I don't know. It's just weird. It's super weird. But Jarrett, so any shout out for you? Anything that you feel like you need to kind of detail about your experience and that was amazing to you at ATC? Did you get out to party? Did you go out to the beaches? Did you do anything special?
Did Jarrett party? Come on now.
Come on now.
Did people roll dice?
We went out and partied a little bit. It's okay.
A little
Nice.
bit. I saw you this morning on day 2.
We partied on day 2 a little bit. It's fine.
I remember right before we got paired up, you were like on the bench, just being like, "I need to exist for a moment before."
and then you paired Ian into me, and then I was like, "I don't know what to do here." I played Custodies.
He was our only win. That was awesome, though.
Hey,
Jared did a great job. We threw his body onto the grenade, and we just moved on.
That's my job. I take the grenade.
I was not expecting our teams to get paired to each other. Honestly, the night before we were like looking at the matrix of the pairings, I was like, okay, this is probably the team or this one. And then you guys, I was like, well, that threw my whole brain way off on round 4.
I
think the biggest standout. Too. Yeah. I think the biggest standout was when we played DDR and I looked over and Cam is playing Todd. And I have watched Todd at tournaments for the last 3 years fight tooth and nail for every single point on the board, and I'm just like not paying attention. I look at the board and I'm like, man, there's really not a lot of Necrons left, and it's 45 minutes into the round, and Todd's like, well, I guess this is over. And I have never seen you ever do that before, and I'm sorry that happened to you, but I'm actually glad it happened to you by my team.
Payback.
Oh yeah, no, totally.
We'll take those.
Yeah, no, it was Cam made turn 1. He went first and made a 10-inch charge. Turn 2, he made another 11-inch charge, and then turn 3, he made another 9-inch charge. I was like, bro, you can just have it at that point. Like, I didn't even get on point at all. And I'm sitting here like, well, that like the first charge, I'm like, okay, I could weather that. Charge turn 2, I'm like, all right, I'll try to weather that. And then Trajan's just like, hey, we're here. Hey, we're make. He's like, I'm gonna roll this 9-inch charge after like he made the other 2. I was like, yeah, you are. And boop, there's the 11.
Yep.
Like. His dice were fire. Like he even said, he's like, dude, I'm so sorry. Like anything my Necrons were doing into him, bouncing.
But like any good overlord, Todd was like, all right, time to phase out and save casualties.
Right. Yeah. We're gonna play like 7th edition. It's like, okay, I still have X amount of units, I still win, right?
Not necessarily.
No, it was a great event. I wouldn't change it for the world. The best people in one place, some of the best people in the US. Florida meta is real.
I'm sad I couldn't make it down.
You look at everyone who plays at these tournaments for our local events, and you're like, crap. Like,
I know.
You don't know what to do. Like, you look at the roster, like, you go to RTT, right? And you're famous for putting on 50-person RTTs. And, like, you look at the roster, and on the roster is Art of War, Cigar City, some, Dan Monsov, all them, like guys who've been around for a long time who are amazing players. And you're like, man, this is a tough field. Like even Nick, like every time I see Nick's name on something, man, I'm like, oh God, I don't want to play Nick. Like I love playing Nick, right? But like Nick is so good and he's so tactical. Like, I don't know, man. Your events are just the best, and I'm happy that Florida has this meta, and we have the people that we have to play with, because it just speaks volumes, I think, for all of us.
Speaking of Monsolve, Jarrett, have you ever talked to him much?
Yeah.
He's a big Dark Angels guy.
He is a big Dark Angels guy.
He is.
He just sold all his Dark Angels, I'll tell you that.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, that's big. That's like me selling my wolves.
Yes, he finally converted to the Chaos.
He did. Playing World Eaters.
I'm holding my Dark Angels. They're gonna buff that codex.
I got everything right behind me. I got all the new models, everything ready to go, unbuilt, unpainted, just in case they get decent. We'll see.
That's like Quinton.
I see you laughing. Don't laugh at me. I have hope.
That's what Quinton did to me in like Jacksonville, I think it was like 2 years ago. I was playing my orcs, and I was doing really well with my orcs. I was like 18-0, and then Quinton comes with his Eldar and is like casually like, no, be gone, you little peasant.
Do you remember the game that we played when I was running Hail of Doom when you had the Terminators?
I do remember this.
Yeah, I was like, oh wait, my whole army's AP4, auto wounds, has reels to hit and wound. I'm designed to kill Terminators. Big success.
Yeah, he did that to me on purpose. First off, he hit me up. He's like, hey, you want to play GTS? And I was like, yeah, sure, I'm down. Like, I haven't played GTS that much. He played Hail of Doom into me, and I don't know what happened.
Sure.
I don't know what happened.
Show on the bear.
He baited me with that. He did.
Where he hurt you?
Everywhere.
As I say, where didn't he?
Where didn't he? Exactly. But Quinton does that to everybody. So at least everyone in our local community. So, and Quinton's been around for a long time, and we love Big Quinton too.
If you want some karma, you can check out the most recent game we have on YouTube between Richard and I, where it's Eldar versus Tau, and it does not go well for the elves. I'll tell you all that much.
It did not. I think
very cathartic.
Did not go well.
You tell me Richard and Tau, it doesn't go well for whatever the other person is.
It was my first game with the new Tau, and I was like, this will be fine. Surely it'll be fine. And then I just died immediately.
Oh my gosh.
But you died with a smile.
This is the important part.
Quinton does everything.
That's all that matters.
Smile, though. That's not saying much. I don't think I've ever seen Quinton not smiling.
No, I don't think so either. And different hair color. Every time I see him, it's like a different shit. I'm like, who is that again? Oh, yeah.
Sure, it's like almost a normal, natural color right now.
I'm going back to brown. I've let this is bleached, so I'm going back to letting all the dye fade out. It's been like 2 years, and it's gotten kind of a lot of work, so I'm just going to go back to my natural color.
You're natural. You're like, I'm done with the work.
I have to bleach it like every so often. I have to dye it like once a month. It's like actually kind of a giant pain.
All right. Thank you, Jared, very much. And last but not least, Mr. Mike. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Mike, how your experience was at ATC, and what is your favorite or day one army?
Well, I've been playing since, I believe, 6th edition. That's when Tau got their full update and they released the Riptide and the Wraith Guard, or Wraith Knight, then they had Taudar. I got into the game because my friend decided to pawn off onto a unknowing child, Tau, without knowing the repercussions that would cause. So my first army was Taudar, basically.
So how long until you made friends in 40K?
I very quickly sold that army and bought Blood Angel. And then got friends. Weird. But no, so I then hopped around and I finally got to Thousand Suns in the Chaos Space Marine Codex in 6th edition. Back when you had the boon of mutation table that you could randomly become a god or you just become a little Chaos Spawn and just die. Where you had the fine cast upgrade kits for T-Suns. So for about 6 years, my T-Suns army consisted of a fine cast Armon and random fine cast upgraded T-Suns. Till they obviously got updated in 7th edition and I played them for a while. I took a break from 40K and for pretty much most of 8th. Came in at the very end, bought Custodes because I'm like, oh, Custodes look cool. I have no clue what they were at the time. Looked up a bunch of lore, thought they were really interesting. So for most of 9th, I ran Custodes and started going to tournaments. And I kind of had that same mentality that Quinton had, where I kind of was hopping from local tournament to local tournament doing really good until I decided to sign up to a team tournament with a friend of mine and actually ran into Quinton, which Quinton then proceeded to humble me on the power of a Sunshark bomber. Once you have no more jet bikes, you'd be amazed what Custodes do when you can't attack a plane. You just kind of stand there. So that was a very humbling experience. But from there, that kind of like lit a competitive fire under me. So I tried to do a little bit better.
And came to Tampa and beat everybody in Tampa. Won multiple RTTs. I think you won like multiple GTs at Onslaught as well. And
I've actually never won one of your GTs. I keep getting eluded. You know, some weird last GT, some random Art of War player happened to beat me, causing me to fail 2 Shadow of the Warp Battle Shock tests.
It was John. It was John. I watched that.
It was losing by 1 point after that. I was like, oh my god.
Zangor is not holding up.
Hey, that's good.
They ain't gonna hold up to him, man. Big bugs are scary.
You guys start letting Thousand Suns win Florida GTs. I'm gonna have to move back to Florida.
Hey, leave Thousand Suns alone. They need a buff. They're a bad faction. And that's my story. I'm sticking to it. They need buffs.
As a Wolf player, I just can't have Thousand Suns winning shit.
Mike, I'm on your side. Thousand Suns need a buff.
See?
Nerf them.
We're slowly getting more to my team. It's
always nerf them. That's what Magnus did wrong.
Magnus did
everything.
I think I have so much respect for Mike too, because we both play T-Suns a lot, and T-Suns are easily my favorite teams army, right? So especially in the context of the show, talking about the teams event, you know, T-Suns are always in the picture. They're always strong.
No, and they are cool. Like, as much as I'm a Space Wolf player, they are my favorite Chaos faction. Like, Thousand Suns are really cool.
Yeah. Nick was actually probably the final straw in getting me to switch back to T-Suns for competitive, because I've been running Custodes for so long, and not going to lie, like, Custodes are really good, obviously, right now, but they're kind of boring. You just kind of walk forward and say, all right, I'm going to try for my 9-inch deep strike charge, or I'm going to rapid ingress and walk forward. It's really just you move forward and hope you make the charge. So I was talking to Nick about it. Me and him actually worked on the skeleton of the list I'm more or less running right now. And I've loved it ever since. And then I went out to Tampa, and Lewis refuses to put me on the Facebook banner head every time I win a Tampa event.
Because it's Thousand Suns. I just can't. I can't.
Hey, man.
It's a kid with a bucket of sand.
It's okay. It's nothing personal. I get it. We bring
Facebook
our friends out there that plays orcs. I'm sure orcs get put up immediately.
Facebook has community standards against that kind of stuff.
I can see that. I don't know. But as far as ATC goes, like Jared was saying before, the main thing with that was we kind of went in there with a rough plan. We didn't have like a matrix or anything like that. We kind of looked at it, and I know that I talked with Cam, Jarrett, and the rest of the team, and pretty much our one strategy we had for the entire event was, if they have a Necron player, we're going to make it to where they have to pick between orcs or Custodes.
Yeah.
Good luck. And then sure enough, we play Art of War, and they don't have a Necron player, and we're like, well, there goes that plan. Let's just see what happens. I also learned during that event that people don't know how to play into T-Suns, and I was the grenade for most teams. Where every time I got paired into somebody, they were like, yeah, I didn't really want to fight you, but nobody else wanted to fight you, so here you go. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is sure. That meant I got paired into Grey Knights round 1. Round 2, I got paired into Dan Monslav with his World Eaters, which I will 100% admit that I got carried on pure unrealistic luck through that game. When Aramon with 5 attacks makes 4 dev wounds and does 12 dev wounds to a Lord of Skulls on the swing back for free, I am not going to say that that was a skill thing. I just rolled really good. Yeah. And then when we paired into Art of War, we didn't really know what to do against them because, again, they just decided to bring all off-meta stuff.
Yep.
So I actually got put down as the first defender. And funnily enough, both Siegler and Quinton were the ones thrown into me. And I know from talking with the rest of my team, nobody wanted to fight the Death Guard with the 3 Plague Burst Crawlers and the 3 10-mans with flamethrowers fights first and just the get off me tools. So I got thrown into that. I heavily underestimated how randomly durable a plague drum can be when I shot 2 rail guns at it, and it was like, nah, get fucked.
I've been wrong, baby. Let's go.
I just looked up at Quinton, man, and I'm like, hey, it is what it is, man. And I just kept walking forward with Magnus as best I could as he bombarded me with plague and sickness. But yeah, after that, I went into Kate with her Endless Horde, which very fortunately for me, flamethrowers do good into endless bugs. And the final round, actually, this is where I think our team kind of hit our stride when it comes to pairings. Initially, it came down to me having to choose between Sisters of Battle and Necrons, Canoptic Court, with 3 Catans, 2 Wraith Bricks, whatever. And actually, our team kind of like, we all got together and we're like, hey, our Orc player, Bryce, was like, because the original thought was we're just going to stick with the plan, give Necron player either Custodes or Orcs, and at the time it was just Orcs. And he kind of spoke up and he's like, I can get maybe 10, 11 points out of that. I'm going to keep it close. I should win, but it's going to be a close game. And so we trusted his instincts and we swapped. We gave him the Sisters of Battle. I wind up taking the Canoptic Court, and it worked out really well in our favor. We both swung, I think, an 18-2 into each other's games, which overall, if we hadn't made that decision, we would have lost or tied. So I think that's where we all kind of just got that like level of trust that Quinton was talking about, that him and Art of War have. So I'm really excited to take the team of 5 of us again to another team tournament, whether it's the ATC Championship or any other team tournament coming up.
NTL in November, 8-man NTL event. Onslaught is putting on an 8-man event.
We got to find 3 more people, Jared.
I got it. Don't worry.
Hey, Quinn, what are the chances we can poach some Art of War players?
It depends on if Art of War is going or not. Otherwise, I might be convincible.
I might try to come down for that one too. See everybody.
That would be nice.
No, overall, I've really been liking T-Suns. They've been doing really well for me. But yeah, it's been a fun time to play 10th edition. And it's been really good to be a part of the Degens.
You're an awesome player, dude. You've been killing it. Ever since I met you, man, you've been doing amazing. I think you're number 1 right now in the Sega, as I like to call it, the Southeast Gaming Alliance.
For now, Jack Harpster decided to start playing a little bit more, and he's real close to me right now.
Who? Never heard of him.
Yeah, I know, right? Just some random guy.
Some random guy.
yeah, man. I got to give you credit there. Like you're such an amazing player to experience. Like the skill, the attitude, bringing people together and just creating a really positive atmosphere is huge. It's huge for 40K, right? That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
It's a shame. I think Mike's the only one on here I've never actually met.
Awesome. He's an awesome individual. Awesome person. You would love him, except you would hate his 1,000 Suns.
Just don't look at them. Just close. Just bird box it.
No, aesthetically, 1,000 Suns are beautiful. Aesthetically.
Yeah. Hey, Nick had 1,000 Suns, and I took him to ATC with me. So.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did come with us. Yeah, it was fun. And then I beat a 1,000 Suns player, and that was really fun with Orcs.
Yeah, but then the score changed.
That's weird.
Oh, no.
We're gonna leave that alone.
We're not getting into that. No, we're not.
We're not
You
gonna
should
get
not
into
have brought that one up, but we'll just say. Remember, I said you're playing him and you're playing your Orcs, and we're just gonna see what happens. Remember, I said that,
Yeah,
and we made
did.
it happen, and we all watched it happen, and we're like,
Yes.
Yeah, I called it. I was like, I knew what was going to happen.
I'm just glad I made Nick happy. It gave him a good laugh. It made his heart feel warm inside.
Yeah. I'm just glad.
I am not ready for this Orc meta. That's like
glad
matchup.
Yeah.
Get ready for Bully Boys.
Oh.
Bully Boys.
Orc
That
meta.
works matchup. Why are you all better now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lewis
Green
and I
Tide
both had
teams.
perfect records that year.
Yep. Yeah, that was
Oh,
that was
6-0 or 0-6.
Yeah, he went 6-0. I went 0-6. I jumped on everything.
Yes, yes. Hey, at least we kept it consistent, right?
Hey,
Actually, I was just invited to a team event because there's a million events obviously going on May 18th of next month. But I was invited to go to a team event, and they're like, "We need you." I'm like, "You want me to bring world eaters or orcs?" And they're like, orcs." Like, no world eaters. I'm like, come on, world eaters are so fun right now. So I named my list of orcs the real world eaters.
They were there first.
They were there first. And they really do eat everything, right? They want to destroy all kinds of worlds. Thank you very much to our guests. Now, I do want to kind of go off of two of our hosts, right? And they could give us a breakdown of what they did, how it went for them. And that is Nick Herding and Todd, who actually played at the ATC Florida as well. Nick and his team, Cigar City 2, they came in third place, actually. So he's going to give you congratulations to you and your team. I wish we could have had all of them. Like, I wish we could have had all of Team Degen, Art of War in here. But I know it's a logistical nightmare to get 15 people. First of all, it's not allowed on the platform. Second off, to get 5 people just to go to ATC is a logistical nightmare. To get them on the show together is a nightmare. So I didn't even want to bother. I kind of wanted to change it out and get some people now. I'll grab the other team members a little bit later throughout the year. I know that all of you are going to end up winning at more events or podium at more events. So don't worry. We'll make sure to get them all on.
You just decided to get the 2 prettiest from each team?
Well, if I wanted the prettiest, Mike wouldn't have been one of them.
I see how it is. It's because I'm a
Probably.
And I would say Quinton is probably the most handsomest, even though that's not a word, out of Art of War. So probably Siegler wouldn't have been on here either, even though we didn't see his face. So he saved the community.
Well, especially since Leonard started trying to grow whatever beard thing he's got going on.
He is, right? Oh my gosh, he's so dreamy now.
No.
He's embracing the Florida man.
Oh my gosh. No, I told him about that too. I was like, dude, you're trying to copy my hairstyle, man. Come on, stop it. He was like, that's what happens when you get old. I was like, I got it. I get it. Gotta let the hair out before it disappears. It's honest, right? And then once you start having that receding hairline, then you go
like
Mr.
this.
Clean.
Then you go
Then
like
you
this.
go
You
Mr.
give up.
Clean.
You give up.
Yeah, either a crew cut, like military crew cut, or you go Mr. Clean, right? Because I'm not gonna do it. I'm just gonna go Mr. Clean. It's just gonna be completely bald. But Nick, take the floor. It's all yours. You already know. Tell us a little bit. We already know a little bit about yourself, but tell us a little bit about how it was for you and the team at ATC. If there was anything that you guys kind of learned or taught somebody, and how your experience was.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. So we've been talking about this for an hour already, but yeah, this event was easily one of the best Florida events ever I've been to. It really brought all the aspects of teams and ATC to Florida. And between Lewis and JD, like this was just a joy. I had a blast the entire time. And I actually played. I think my team had a very good time. Well, winning 4 out of 5 rounds does that. We came in 3rd overall. Behind Art of War and Degen. I would say we were probably more of the mid-table bullies. I would say, because we never played Degen or Art of War, unfortunately, and our loss actually was to Todd down there. DDR Todd won. We played them round 2, and we had an intense pairing process. Where you actually, if you listen to Tactical Tortoise Trevi's stream of the event, you can actually hear me shouting in the background during the pairing process, because we flipped our last card, and it was a Canopic Court Necron mirror match.
Yeah, well, that's
I knew.
That's what you get when you steal one of my teammates.
Yeah. So my team was I play so the team I'm on is Cigar City, pretty large Florida team, lots of different players from different areas, and my team for this event was a collaboration. So we had Bryce from DDR, and then we had Aaron and Chris from Huckleberry. So as well as 2 Cigar City players. So it was definitely a collaborative Florida effort. So I wouldn't say there wasn't any like secret sauce or anything like that. It was a strength. Chris and myself are kind of very tactical, strategic players. We're always thinking steps ahead in terms of our matchup and our play. For scoring lots of points, differentials. So I think we actually had Necrons. We had Necrons, Sisters, and Eldar actually kind of taking more of a backseat and defending. Well, Custodes and myself playing Templars were kind of going and scoring all the points as the attacker. So Templars, I got my Templars Gladius idea that comes straight from Jack, Art of War. I personally had like the benefit of playing him twice at Crucible and at Tampa Open in the last few months. So Jack from Art of War has just been fantastic. All the content, the Art of War content, I can really recommend to anyone who wants to learn more about 40K. So yeah, it was really, really, really fantastic overall. Shout out to Hogan Franklin. Some of the other teams, some of the other captains were just all fantastic people. Most everybody I think was from Florida. Yeah, definitely shout out
and Bolter. Shout out to Brush and Bolter, which is Team Hogan, all of them. Daniel Kelly, love all those. I love them all. Andy
was killing
Gary.
it.
Yeah, love them all. Like I said, everybody's my favorite. I just love everyone.
Yeah, Andy was playing Custodes. We had some real good Custodes players at this event, which had a fantastic time. It makes me sad to see that army probably going away here next week, because those guys were just really crushing it, playing some excellent Warhammer.
Give it some time. Someone like a Quinton, or like a Mike or Todd or Jared or somebody's gonna grab that army and they're gonna do amazing with it, just like Siegler did with AdMech, and then you're gonna be like, okay.
Yeah.
Jack has been telling me some secret Custodes sauce recently, and some of it makes me giggle.
Really? So we'll have to stay tuned to listen.
There's more to that book than the first glance has.
There's some sauce hidden in there.
There is. I know they're pretty linear, and they're kind of one-dimensional. But I mean, I've looked at it too, and I see some potential. I just think it takes the right pilot, right? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Nick, but I'm going to call shenanigans, and I think they're going to be better than you think they might be.
Yeah, we just got to get the new the female custodians, and then get a new data sheet, right?
and 1 weekend a month, they're going to be really good.
Oh my god.
Stop it, guys. Anyways, move on. I love it. I love the fact that they're doing that. Right? I love it.
It's fine.
Yeah, I love the fact that they're doing that. Do it up. But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess a strategy thing that I looked into, because we did, so as a team we did matrices and stuff like that, because my team, I think some of our players were new to teams, so then I kind of took the role as the captain, and I'm like, all right, we're doing a matrix. We're going to talk about the pairings. We're going to talk about the rules packet. So I'm kind of going over introducing people to teams, hyping up the event a lot, locally talking to new players about it. So definitely creating a lot of hype and creating a lot of knowledge, like towards teams play. And I think personally, like during pairing process, this did not work against Todd. Whatever strategy I came up with, Todd completely defeated it. We lost the entire pairing process, but it worked against everyone else. So I don't know what the secret sauce is, but luckily after Todd destroyed my team, I went back and asked him for advice, which helped us in our last round. So thank you Todd, for kicking our ass.
What the secret sauce was? I had Justin on the background was supposed to do DDR's matrix, so that way we had like analysis. He's like, I had no time to look at lists. You're on your own. I'm like, cool. And every table it was random bullshit go.
For those of you who don't know what DDR is, Dice, Death, and Robots. Dice, Death, and Robots for DDR. So you know.
Nothing makes you realize you know a lot less about the game than you think you do than trying to captain and pair a team's event.
Yes. Yeah. That's what I do at ATC. You know that, Matt, every single year. people try to give me captain. I'm like, why? No, I'm coming here to play.
I gotta give Nick mad props. The amount of experience he has. He captains that ship directly through the storm every time. It's great. I don't have to do anything. He just is like, Quinton, here's your ideal matchup. Woo!
Love it. Love it. I need a team captain like that. Sheesh.
Hey, I gave you that. I got you a good matchup, and I got me a bad matchup, and I couldn't get the middle right. That was the problem.
That was the problem, the middle.
I took your grenade, and I got you a good matchup, and everything else was 50-50. I couldn't get the rest of it figured out.
Indeed. No, big love, big love. You know I'm joking. Big love. And Todd, all right, so a little bit about your experience at ATC, how you did, and apparently you have the secret sauce, right? And you, dude, you have been utterly killing it lately with your Necrons. And something that most people are not playing, the detachment, right, for Necron. So tell us a little bit about that. You know, tell us, we already know your day one is Necrons, right? That's your baby. That's your favorite. But tell us a little bit about your experience and how it was for you at ATC Florida.
So it's kind of funny just to touch on the Canoptic Court thing. It's they did a background from a weekend ago or so from tournaments events, and they're showing the matrix of people who are taking the not awakened, sorry, the teleporty one, the hyper phaser, hypercrypt, and versing their win rate, score percentage rate versus Canoptic Court. Mind you, most people are still playing the hypercrypt, but their win percent rate is in that 50 Goldilocks zone that GW wants them at. Canoptic's looking at that 57, 58, which is kind of interesting. When I read that on one of those Reddit posts that are floating out there in the internet. Yeah. I found my rules on Reddit. That's how you play the game, right?
Oh, I learned.
Yeah, gotta start somewhere. Teams so we did have a plan as far as Justin, who wasn't able to attend. He was one of our backups that if we had to drop, he would have been able to, but he had other plans. But he was supposed to do our pairing matrix for us because I work full time and he has a lot of downtime on night shift where he could have sat there, analyzed it all for us. You know, he's our deep rules diver guy in DDR, and he was not able to, come up with anything for us. So pretty much every table, like I just told Nick, it was kind of random. We did discuss, sitting down teams and figuring out, okay, what matchup is bad, what matchup is good. Obviously, we had two really skew-less Chaos Knights, being Tyler, and then also Kate running her NID Gaunt Carpet list, which it had its. I think we liked it on paper, and then her last two rounds being into Flamer Quinton, and then also Thousand Suns Flamer. We pretty much told my wife, we're sorry, but none of us want to play those two. So not them, but their armies. And when I played Nick, I was honestly, a lot of it was I wanted to negate anyone having to deal with the Necron matchup, and I was I could take Bryce. So I was all right. No. So I was I honestly threw more attackers that would have been better defenders and threw them at him instead. That way, it's I threw Kate forward, I threw Tyler forward, and then that guaranteed our ladder three would eventually hit the Necron, either me or even Ian, because he was playing Custodes with Trajan, which was a good pairing into the Necron matchup. Also, shout out to Ian. He did amazing being on stream twice. He was stressed out on round three, and he's just I don't know. And he did great playing in the Nick Notavati on top table on the last day, so that was pretty awesome. And if anything, I had words from the team as far as what I could have done better. Ian just says, "Stop giving me my bad matchups."
Wait, you gave him Ian.
I gave that man every bad matchup possible, he told me. Every single round, starting from 1 all the way to 5, he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, dude, you have won every single game. You're getting better at it.
Yes. Did he beat you, Jarrett?
Yeah. He crushed me. He didn't want to play my Votan. With his Custodes, really? He either makes all his 2-ups or he dies. Or he wins the game.
But you talked about it. It was who went first, in a sense. Allegedly. But no, ATC is always a good time. We've done plenty of the 3-mans with you, Lewis. So it was nice to finally do the 5-man. It's definitely a different mindset walking into the game from even the 3-mans that we play at the RTT level sometimes. Yep. The one you and I were at for NerdCon last year, the 3-man, we did that. So the 5-man definitely adds another variable that maybe I wasn't ready for, but it was a good experience. Wouldn't trade for the world. Loved all the players we played against. All the teams are great. It was nice playing Art of War. Being in 6th place and playing Art of War on top table was a very weird feeling. But, hey, we were there. We did our thing.
And me and you are going to be doing well done. Judging for the 8-man at the end of this year. NTL, keep on plugging that in. Yes. But me and Todd will be there. So please make sure to join, participate, bring your 8-person crew with you. I don't know if Todd's going to end up playing or he's going to end up judging. Regardless, I love his presence there, DDR, everybody. So congratulations to you guys. So you ultimately came in 6th place, right, your team?
No.
We
went undefeated on to day 1. And then day 2, we got slapped twice in a row down to 8th place.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right.
It's okay. The thing is, and we had discussed it with you. We had discussed it with JD, right? Like even Jarrett and us, like even on round 4, we're like, wait, what's going on with these pairings? And it's just, BCP being maybe a little funky, but it is what it is. Like at the end of the day, like Jarrett and our team, Jarrett always wants to play me. Like we still have yet to have that matchup. It's
you won't play me. You keep dodging me.
I know. Listen, I like to tease you. I like to be like, hey, I'm here, but not yet. Just wait. It's coming.
One day it's going to happen.
I think the biggest pride of the entire DDR team, though, was having Kate beat on Garrett. And Garrett just being beside himself, losing into the carpet.
He asked me for that matchup, man, and I knew what was going to happen, and I did it anyway. Yeah, that was dirty. That was a dirty game.
Yeah, I just heard Tyler scream from outside, being like, "Oh!"
Yeah,
love it. Yeah.
I'm gonna try to put a squad together for the 8-man. See if I can bring the mountain out.
Yes, dude, he's so excited. He's supposed to be at my event in a couple of weeks, so he's excited.
Need to get him playing again.
Yeah, I've been bugging him, dude. Like telling David, like, come back. And he's like, oh, you have one close to me? Oh, I'm gonna go to that one. And then I had to grab his email, sign him up. So he's supposed to be participating at that. Hopefully that works out for him.
Yeah, we're going in the Grey Knight meta now too, apparently.
We are.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to drag him to the GT as well. I'll just tell him, look, I'll drive. Don't worry. I'll drive us to Orlando. Don't worry. You need to just come out and hang out with us. And then for the last thing, we know we've gone over a little bit of time. We're sorry, Quinton. I know you probably have better things to do. Jarrett and Mike, right? The rest of you can suffer because you're all in this with me together in the same boat. But Nick kind of wanted to go off a little bit, and Matt wanted to go off a little bit on sequencing and what was in particular for their army, and just teach you a little bit of something. Right? We're just gonna do this quick, fast, in a hurry. We promise you that our next episode, we're gonna have a lot more information based on all of the core rules and things like that. But this show was for the amazing all-star lineup that we have in our community here in the state of Florida. For those of you who are watching from another state, right? These wonderful individuals all represent the beautifulness of what Warhammer 40K is in the state of Florida. So,
thank you, Lewis.
Thank you, Lou.
You're welcome, everyone. Love you. We're just going to continue on to the next show. That's it. Bye-bye, everyone. Love you so much. Take care, and see you on OCA 8 in about 2 weeks, where we're going to have, like I was saying, right, we're going to have orcs, talk about the new orc codex and stratagems and tacticals on that. Make sure to watch that. Also, we're going to have Necrons, Thousand Suns, and Space Wolves. All right? So thank you to everyone who participated in the show. Thank you to all of my guests. Love you all. Everyone else, all slot community, and have a great one.
Take care, guys.
Bye, guys.
See ya.